Welcome to Virtual Antics, your go-to podcast for digital entrepreneurs, powered by Nandora.org and NG Virtual Assistant. We're here to guide you through every aspect of business, from networking to lead generation and so much more. Get ready to thrive in the virtual world with expert insights and our all-in-one solution, Nandora, where creating a digital business becomes a breeze. Let's dive in and revolutionize your business journey together. Welcome back to the Virtual Antics podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Guzman, and today I have the fabulous Christen James. She's also known as CJ. She's a side hustle coach and host of the Shine to Five Method for Side Hustlers podcast. She is a certified life skills coach, certified master mindset coach, as well as a Reiki master with a BA in psychology and certification in solution-focused therapy. Welcome, CJ. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat with you, Natalie. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm so excited because I loved when I first met you. I was like, oh my gosh. I even just read my notes in my CRM system. It says, she's the sweetest and has so much knowledge.
Oh, and I'm so happy that I get a chance to share with you and offer you some value.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit how you got into being the side hustle coach and kind of what you're doing now as well.
Thank you for asking that. So my story, of course, I have the 9 to 5 story. And once I manifested my layoff from my 9 to 5. I love sharing that part too, put it out in the universe. The whole thing happened. And then once I left and I went back to school, got certified as a coach, and I realized I wanted to continue to support women in the 9 to 5 setting that wanted to leave. They didn't have the tools or resources. Basically, back when I was in that position and I didn't really know or think about hiring a coach, I want to provide that kind of support for those women now. And I identify as a side hustle coach because since I started my business, I was like, oh, I'm helping you with your transition from employee to entrepreneur. I'll help you grow your business. I'll help you with a side hustle. And one day I'm like, why didn't I just call myself a side hustle coach? And it just got so very specific and it resonates with who it needs to resonate with. So now I like to say I empower 9 to 5 women to confidently and strategically quit the 9 to 5 to go all in their businesses. Go on the journey with them.
Super cool. I love that. And it's definitely needed, we were just talking because my kids don't have school today. So they are home during this recording. And that has been, I feel like, as a woman, as a mom, it's really hard sometimes to have a 9 to 5 job. And my side hustle turned into two 6-figure businesses, which is crazy. Yeah. So anyone really can do it. And I had 2 babies 12 months apart too while doing all this. And so what are some things are, maybe methods and stuff that you've seen help people go from the 9 to 5 to the side hustle?
The first thing typically is, and the reason why I use the word empower is because many women, many of us know how to be really good employees. We don't have the tools to become an entrepreneur. We feel like we can't be a successful entrepreneur because we were trained to be employees. So that's why I like to work with them on the mindset piece and really stress it. It's a lot of mindset. So when you're using the excuses, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, of saying, well, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, is really you're just you're getting in your own way. We are hardwired, our brains are hardwired to resist change. So any opportunity where something comes up and it's like, mayday, abort, right? The brain tells you no. So you come up with these excuses saying, oh, I don't have the time and the money. So one of the first things I want them to work on is really checking in with themselves. When you're talking about, it comes down to fear of failure, lack of support, fear of judgment. What will people say? Will anyone support me? So it's, first of all, knowing that you have to build a muscle almost and I know you can relate to this. You have to build a muscle as an entrepreneur. It's not going to be easy. It doesn't happen overnight. It's absolutely positively worth it. All I like to do is encourage people whenever they know there's something more that they want to do. At least try, at least pursue it. If it could be just a little mustard seed, whatever it is, something planted in you, to tap into that, to see where this is coming from. You might feel like you're being placed in a box at your 9 to 5. And for me, it was literal because I was in a cubicle. You might feel like you're being placed into a box and your creativity is being stunted. And you're like, there's so much more that I can be doing with my skills and with my talent and my creativity. And I love to do this more. Pursue that, really tap into it, spend some time and learning how to. I love to ask the question, what does success look like for you? And most of the time, the answer is I want to be in control of my time. So that as a mom, like I want to be there for my kids, right? I want to be in full control of my time. And the 6 figures or 5, 6, 7, 8 figures will absolutely come with it. So start by asking yourself, what will my life look like once I do this? What does success mean to me? Why is it important that I do this? Start asking yourself really difficult questions. Journal about it if you need to. Reach out to someone if you need to, but just go after it. Just tap into it and then see where it takes you.
That's awesome. One thing that you said that really stood out to me was that we're really good employees. And I feel like that was
Yeah.
the hardest shift for me. So I went from literally having, a whole set of to-dos I had to do every day. And I knew
Yeah.
exactly what my job was. I knew exactly what I had to do, when I had to do it. But then I became a CEO. And I was the one that had to start giving those out, to other people. And I had to learn how to delegate. And then I also, I was never a manager, never a supervisor.
Okay.
So I went from doing, call service in a cubicle. So I was in that box as
In the
well.
box. Yeah.
Yeah, to now not only having a brand new baby, but also so I had to learn how to be in charge of that. I also had to be in charge of this huge growing business that was just exploding. And so I had to learn how to be in charge of my employees and also growing the business. So it was like, I feel like it was 6 muscles at once I was trying to grow because it's a
Yeah.
whole new skill set. So one of the things that I noticed that really helped was like delegating and asking for help, because I didn't
Of
have that
course.
knowledge. So what are some tips and suggestions you have for people that maybe they're not used to delegating or asking for help?
It's I love that you said that you were never in like a managerial position and you learned, right? And that's one of the main things is, as entrepreneurs and as we build that entrepreneur muscle, we learn to be really, really super adaptable.
Mm.
And I'm sure you, for example, we'll use you as the example, learn how to delegate because you had defined what success looks like for you. I'm like, if this business is going to work, I can't do it all on my own,
Yeah.
right? What areas, what's my zone of genius? So the first thing is find your zone of genius. Where, like my zone of genius, I love coaching. I love just showing up and coaching. All the other stuff is important, but that's when we start to delegate, right? So in that, I like to stress to the clients to leverage their 9 to 5. So that you have skills that you're acquiring at your 9 to 5 that you can apply to your business. Show how you show up, even though you were not necessarily in a managerial position, you probably show those qualities and already have those skills. You just didn't have the space or the capacity to really exercise them or try them out, right? So, but going into your 9 to 5 every day and using it as a stepping stone. And once you've made the decision that this is only going to be for another year or however long, 6 months, however long you decide, you now walk into your 9 to 5, like, what else can I learn from this today that will help me in my business? Because you're learning your communication skills, right? Like, for example, you're on the phone, you're dealing with your coworkers, you're dealing with different personalities. So you're learning your communication skills, your organizational skills. All those things are still really super important when you're running a business, navigating difficult conversations. When I was in my 9 to 5, I had to navigate a plethora of difficult conversations because I was in a managerial position. But now I realize that helps me as an entrepreneur because I deal with different types of clients and they have different types of needs and people receive information in different ways. So walk in asking yourself, what else can I learn from this? You're learning networking. Networking is super important. Your collaboration skills. Collaboration is a huge piece too as an entrepreneur and really growing your business. So treat your 9 to 5 as like, it's almost like you're on the road to leaving, but you're treating it as a stepping stone and taking from it what you need to take from it. And you will learn out of, like you did, out of necessity,
Yeah.
that there, if this is going to work, what, and if you don't, if, of course, if you don't have a certain type of knowledge or skills, you go and you learn and you acquire them, because now you realize this business has to work. And it's also identifying if you're a wantrepreneur or a, like what I like to say, a mentrepreneur. Wantrepreneurs, they think it's easy. Or they'll start and they realize that the first sign of any type of obstacle, they start to really doubt. They might even quit. A mentrepreneur comes in, and a wantrepreneur will say something like, should I be doing this? I don't know if I should be doing this. And I tried it, didn't work. But a mentrepreneur will be like, what else can I do? How else will this work? This needs to be successful. Where do I need to show up? Who do I need to reach out to? How badly do I want this? Is one of the most important questions to ask. And then when you can answer that question, because I know I've had many a day where I'm like, I'm sure you can relate. But it's just like, I could really just get a job right now and be over with this. But then I remember, no, I set out because I really, really want this. I want this so badly. It's going to work. You have to learn to take the ups with the downs. Comparisonitis is learning to not compare yourself to others. Be inspired by them. Be inspired, but understand that their journey is very different from yours. I know, yes, it sounds cliche. We say it all the time. Don't compare yourself to others, but it's true. You can't look at somebody else's life and say, oh, wow, look at all those things they're doing. And I haven't done that. But they have lived a completely different life. They're in a completely different path. They might be further along in their business than you are. So there you are comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. And they might be saying, this is what you need to do. Here's cookie cutter in order to be successful in your business. Well, that was what worked for them and their business. So identify who you serve, how you serve them, the problem they have, how you solve the problem, the solution you can offer. And once you kind of get really familiar with just beyond the what you do in your business and use the other 5 W's, if you will, to really investigate and dig a little bit deeper, everything really starts to fall into place very organically for you.
That's amazing. And when you're talking about like the entrepreneur, right? I was like, man, we all experience imposter syndrome, like every single one of us. I just got the phone with this guy that's making about almost 8 figures. He's gonna hit 8 figures in the next like 2 months probably, and he's having imposter syndrome right now.
Right?
Yeah,
Because we do it. Yeah.
I'm like, what? I was like, you have done so amazing. You've done all these, you're helping so many people, and you are having imposter syndrome. And it just kind of was like, yeah, I've had it at every stage of my business, no matter before I started and when I was successful and when I went backwards, and I think that main difference between the entrepreneur and the is it mentrepreneur?
Mentrepreneur, yeah.
Okay, I got it. Look at me go. Um, so the biggest difference is changing your mindset.
Yes.
So yeah, so because you said I still had those doubts, I was still doing what a entrepreneur, but then I was like, wait, I could actually be inspired, and I have to figure out how to change this. So I think acknowledging when we have imposter syndrome and just getting ourselves out of that hole as quick as possible. And then also, like you were saying about comparing people, I love to think of people as a Pinterest board. They have all of these, not interesting. So they have all these interests and focus and passions and goals. And man, I could be looking at someone and like, man, they're traveling a lot. I want to do that. Well, I just take it and put it on my Pinterest board, right?
Inspiration. Yeah.
It's just inspiration. You just take that and you're not copying them. I hate when people say that, because I'm like, if someone comes to me, they're like, you're copying me. I was like, well, you inspired me. I'm doing it my own way, but it is very similar. Yes, because you inspired me. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It depends how far you take it. If you wear a white dress to a wedding that's not yours, that's a whole nother thing. But
Yeah, I like that. A Pinterest board. I like that. Inspiration. Yeah, you feel inspired. And it's okay to be inspired by people, but
yeah.
you don't necessarily have to want to live their lives. And I mean, I deal with imposter syndrome. I'll definitely deal with imposter syndrome too. I think it's just a part of who we are as humans. Our voice is the first and last we'll hear. So we're our biggest critic, right? And I think another thing is, and I like to work with my clients on, is really kind of nurturing your inner child.
Yeah.
So if there's certain things that I read just the other day that your love language, I love talking about love languages, but your love language typically is the area that you lacked as a child. So if you didn't get the validation as a child, your love language might be words of affirmation, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I'm like, I love that. That's beautiful. But just spending time with your inner child. And by that, I mean, when the imposter comes up, I will ask myself, I'm like, what does 6-year-old Christen need right now in this moment? How does she need to feel? Why is she feeling inadequate? Like, what does she need to hear? Right? And where are these thoughts coming from? Where are these feelings coming from? How can I get past it? What would I say to 6-year-old Christen right now to help her through this? Right. And then that helps to kind of you're retelling your story, because we are essentially told who we are. This is what you do. Don't do that. This is right. That's wrong. Go to school, go to this school, get the job, get the education. So now you have the opportunity to like retell your story your own way. You're redefining your life. And that's a part again of defining your success too, is with untelling and retelling your story. When the imposter comes up, you say, is that true? And it's not true. So when you ask yourself, is it true? And you can say that's not true. What is true? What is real about you? What is right about you? What feels right about you? And where did this imposter come from? Look the imposter in the eye. Don't ignore it. Acknowledge that it's there, because it's gonna keep coming up. Like you said you were talking to someone who's almost at 8 figures and still dealing with it. So it's gonna keep coming up. But when it does, I'm like, I know why you're here. You're not supposed to be here. Whatever you're here to tell me is not true. Thanks for reminding me that I'm capable of doing whatever I set out to do. Thanks. I like to think of doubt as a catalyst. And by that, I mean, when you start to doubt things, it's just because you know the change can be really good, right? Like if it's something you're really sure about, you're not going to doubt it. If it's something easy, you're not going to doubt it. If there's no change involved, you're not going to doubt it. If there's any kind of growth or you're pushing past your comfort zone, you're not going to doubt. So as soon as the doubt, that seed of doubt is planted, you're like, oh, okay, this means I need to pursue this. This means I need to look a little bit further into how I can do this and how I can be successful at this. Thanks, doubt.
Yeah.
So that's reframing, like you said, just shifting your mindset, reframing your mindset, your thinking, taking control of it. You are in control of your mind. You are in complete control of your mind, and your thoughts, shift them, make it a habit almost. Challenge things when they come up. If they don't feel good, challenge them. Think about how you want to feel and what you need to do to get there, basically.
100%. Yeah, that's definitely a thing we all struggle with and we all have to continuously work on. And we got this. We'll get there and we're
Yeah.
going to do amazing things. We just have to take that time and that energy to really just focus on changing our mindset. So I'm so happy that you joined us today. Where can we learn more about you and listen to your podcast and all that fun stuff?
Oh, yes. My website is christenjames.com. So there are two N's, CHRISTENN James.com. Also, I'm on social media at Christen James. I'm on LinkedIn. My podcast is on all platforms, the Shine to 5 method for side hustlers. I offer tips and advice and real stories. I keep it real with the women in the 9-to-5 setting, because I know what they're going through, what they're feeling, how they want to feel. You find me, we chat for 15 minutes. You're trying to get out of that grind to 5. That's why the podcast is called Shine to 5, because I want to help people shine. Mm-hmm. So if you're ready to shine in your business and leave that 9-to-5, let's have a 15-minute chat. That's all it takes to get started.
That's awesome. I'll make sure I put that in the show notes. But thanks again, CJ, and we'll talk to you guys next time.